Hi, I'm Lee, and I'm a lifelong Republican from Maryland. I cast my first vote for a Republican for president in 1976. I voted for Jerry Ford, who made America proud again, as we like to say, after the years of Watergate and Vietnam. I've been active since then. In 1988, I was president of Young Republicans in my county, as well as chairman of Youth for Bush. Those days in which I can be considered young are long gone, but I've been generous with my money and time since then. I don't trust President Trump. Haven't since the birther nonsense he pushed for 5 years in the middle part of the last decade. I could not respect the lie he told about Ted Cruz's father, that he was somehow connected with the Kennedy assassination. I sure can't appreciate the attacks upon people who, unlike him, served in the military, American heroes like Bob Mueller and John McCain, who both took abuse from enemies and wounds in ways that folks who haven't served could never imagine. And even if I admired President Trump's character, there are just matters of policy in which I profoundly disagree. Traditional Republicans stood for balanced budgets. President Trump has run up the highest deficits in history, and that was true even before the pandemic took place. President Trump, unlike traditional Republicans, is not for free trade. He engaged in foolish trade wars, and we are paying the consequences. We had to pay $50 billion in kickbacks to American farmers after the failure of President Trump's trade wars to get our products sold abroad. I never dreamed an American president would stand up to a Korean dictator and brag about a love letter, as President Trump did. I never dreamed an American president would deny the intelligence of 17 American agencies and say that somehow that the Russians were not involved in trying to influence the 2016 elections. I never imagined that, but that's President Trump in action. I always knew that Republicans spoke of individual responsibility. Richard Nixon, even during Watergate, said he would take the responsibility and the blame. And in the midst of the pandemic, President Trump said, I don't have any responsibility for what all has gone on. And I've always stood for the Abraham Lincoln, Dwight Eisenhower brand of republicanism, which is one which protects the civil rights of all our people. I remember Ronald Reagan flying 5 miles to where I lived to comfort the victims of a cross burning by the Ku Klux Klan in 1982. And I cannot believe President Trump could not even bring himself to solely condemn the organizers of the racist parade in Charlottesville in 2017. Just absolutely shameful. I don't relish the chance to vote for a Democrat, but I am going to cast my ballot without hesitation for Joe Biden in 2020. The people who I know who have spoken to me about former Vice President Biden have all said he's a good and decent man. I know I'm going to disagree with him on some, but at this time, it's time. And it's time in our history that we have a man who is sane and solid, kind of like we had when I voted for Jerry Ford. We needed Jerry Ford then. I think we need Joe Biden now, and I hope you'll join me in casting a ballot in 2020 for Joe Biden.